Hi friends, today I'm going to read you this book called A Town Called Hairyscary. The town of Hairyscary was a peaceful place to settle down, and people liked it there because of all the lovely things in town. It was nice in Hairyscary and normal in most every way. They had shops and a library, a school, and parks where kids could play. Hairyscary had a mayor whose name was Larry Dusseldorf, and from his office in the square he made sure things ran well enough. But one thing missing from the town kept Mayor Larry up at night. There were no barber shops around. To Larry, this did not seem right. It didn't used to be this way. The town once had 2 barbers there. Their shops were open every day to cut and dry and curl your hair. Both barbers were the nicest guys who got along with everyone, but to the people's great surprise, they each disliked the other one. The barbers argued constantly, "My haircuts are the best." "No, mine are." And they could never quite agree which one's haircut skills were finer. One day, both barbers closed up shop. "We're done with hair. We've had enough. Our constant fighting has to stop. We're sorry, Mayor Dusseldorf." Since then, the town was barberless, and this bothered Mayor Larry. It caused him pangs of real distress, for everyone was much too hairy. Everyone except the mayor. See, Larry was quite bald on top, and since he couldn't grow his hair, he didn't need a barber shop. But all the other folks in town had long hair that kept on growing. It grew until it reached the ground, and then it just kept right on going. This caused big problems everywhere, confirming all of Larry's fears. The people all had so much hair it covered up their eyes and ears. They couldn't get around that well, and reading maps and signs was tough, so people often tripped and fell or just collided into stuff. The school was also plagued by hair until the teacher, Miss Weston, gave every kid an extra chair for all the extra hair to rest on. Plus, people used so much shampoo that shelves in stores were often bare. The shops ran out of ribbons too, so no one could control their hair. That's why dear old Mayor Larry was so concerned about his town. He announced, "This town's too hairy. A solution must be found." Everyone ignored poor Larry. "It's not a problem," they all said. "Things are fine in Hairyscary despite our very hairy heads." The mayor gave a mighty sigh. "I guess the people all agree. If they're not worried, why should I? From now on, I'll just let things be." So life went on around the town the way it always had before. The people tripped and kids fell down, and hair kept growing more and more. But one day something odd occurred. A sweet young girl named Mary Lou woke up to find a pair of birds had built a nest in her hairdo. "Oh," Mary Lou politely said, "I see you've laid some eggs up there. You're welcome to stay on my head until they hatch. I think that's fair." Before long, 6 more days had passed. "It's really not that bad," said Mary. "The eggs will hatch soon. This won't last. Their stay is only temporary." Then suddenly the nest was shaking, and there was a lot of scratching. Mary Lou heard eggshells breaking. "Oh," she cried, "the birds are hatching." Soon Mary Lou heard flapping sounds. "They're learning to fly," she said, "and once they all can get around, perhaps they'll finally leave my head." But things did not turn out that way. The birds were fond of Mary Lou. When they began to fly away, they lifted Mary Lou up too. They flew her to the tallest tree. From far above she was a blur. For days the town watched anxiously. There seemed no chance of saving her. The fire department did their best. Their longest ladder reached the sky, but it fell short of Mary's nest, for she was simply up too high. "I've got a plan," announced the mayor. "We've got to make a giant net. We'll weave together all your hair, and Mary Lou can jump in it." "Good thinking, Mayor Dusseldorf," said all the people in the town, and when the net was big enough, they yelled, "Hey, Mary Lou, jump down!" So Mary closed her eyes and leapt and landed in the net of hair. Her dad rejoiced, her mother wept. "We don't know how to thank you, Mayor." The mayor said, "Now, don't you see, it's time for something to be done. Our lovely town is much too hairy. We need haircuts for everyone." And Mary Lou said, "I agree. Now listen, I must have my say. My bird ordeal has made me see that our long hair is in our way. We need to get the barbers back. They must reopen both their shops, and then they both can take a whack at taming all our hairy mops." At first the barbers weren't convinced. Don't you recall our fights back then? We had so many arguments. We'd hate for that to start again. Just then Mary Lou said, "Hey, I've got something to suggest. I think that I have found a way for both of you to be the best." Then she explained her clever scheme. "You'll open just one shop, not two. You'll work together as a team on each haircut," said Mary Lou. And so that's what the barbers tried in their new double barber shop. Each one cut hair on just one side and took turns cutting hair on top. They started working right away to trim each Hairyscary, and by the end of that long day, the town could finally see again. The people loved their new hairdos, and the barber's fight was put to rest, since no one ever had to choose which barber's style they liked best. The mayor gave a speech that day. "Congratulations, all of you. Our hair's no longer in our way, all because of Mary Lou. I do have one little thing to proclaim. Because our hair's no longer scary, I think we'd better change our name. From now on, we're called Hairy Mary." Bye, friends.